In this video, I want to talk about how musicians can use Facebook Live because harnessing the power of Facebook and Facebook Live can really help get your band or get your music noticed. Now, of course, back in the old days, it was very hard to get your band noticed. You had to play in clubs, you had to play at venues and concerts, you might even have to go busking in the street or on the London Underground to get your audience's attention so that they would actually hear your music, so they would know who you were and really get the word out there. And of course, you're at the mercy of unscrupulous promoters who might try to rip you off along the way. Then came the internet and the rise of social media sites, and MySpace became particularly popular with musicians. But let's face it, how many people use MySpace anymore? Facebook soon became the de facto place for musicians to find fans. Up-and-coming bands use it, and even long-established acts like the Rolling Stones have a presence on Facebook. And Facebook Live really takes this to the next level, because Facebook Live lets your audience see and hear you. Now, I know that you can do this already with YouTube, but Facebook Live adds an extra live edge to things. And you can use this to build your following or your fan base. You can bring yourself or your band to the attention of record companies, to the attention of promoters and to A&R people. And one way that you can do this is to live stream concerts exclusively for your followers. So your followers will get to hear your new song before anybody else. They'll get to hear your band play special concerts just for them. You know, this is very powerful stuff. You can hold a special private concert for your fans that nobody else who isn't following you on Facebook Live is going to be allowed to see. So that's very powerful because it means that you're tying in your audience because you're giving them something special, something that nobody else can have. And you can also hold Q&As, question and answer sessions about your band, where people can send you questions and you can answer them live on air. And they can also make comments while you're doing this, so they can send you questions while the Q&A session is in progress. Or you could play requests. You could get people to message you and ask you to play a particular number, and you can simply play that exclusively for the person who's requested it. That's pretty powerful stuff. And you can stream up to 90 minutes, which is plenty of time, really. So you can give your followers really good value there. And of course, this isn't just for people who are singers or people who are in rock or pop bands either. It can fit any type of musical genre. If you're a country western singer or a band, or if you're a jazz musician, or even a classical musician, like a concert pianist or something, you can still use these techniques to reach a wider audience. And even once you're an established band, I'm waiting to see the first Rolling Stones concert over Facebook Live. I'm sure it'll be coming at some point in the future. So there you go, just a few ways that music. One of the things that Facebook recommend when it comes to Facebook Live is that you should be creative and you should broadcast often. And I'm going to delve a bit deeper into this topic in this video. Now, why should you be creative and broadcast often? Well, I suppose the main reason is to avoid being boring. If you're just going to do the same old presentation time and time again, you're going to drive people away. So you want to make sure that when you're giving your presentations, if you're giving a presentation to camera, it's on a slightly different topic, that you use a slightly different technique, different camera angles, maybe from a different location, that sort of thing. Because, as the old saying goes, Variety, 'tis the spice of life. So try broadcasting from different locations. Now, obviously, provided that there's a Wi-Fi or a 4G signal, of course. Or you can talk about different topics to do with your niche. You might perhaps give a demonstration of a product. If you sell a physical product as an affiliate, you could actually demonstrate how this works live on air, and then you could have the link to buy it in your Facebook page. You could perhaps, if you're an internet marketer, you're in the IM niche, you could talk about a particular aspect of internet marketing, a different one every time. You might be able to do that from a different location, provided you've got somebody else to hold the smartphone. Of course, they might watch over your shoulder while you're doing something online exactly at that moment, that sort of thing. So it's going to give people lots of different reasons to tune in, because each episode is going to be different. And if you think about it, if you watch a chat show, there's all sorts of chat shows in different countries all over the world, you'll find that they follow a similar format, but they have different interesting people on every time. And that's something that you might also want to do as part of a Facebook live stream, is to interview people and have a different person on every time. And it's just going to keep it interesting. It's just going to keep it varied. Something else that you want to do is to broadcast at regular times to build a following. And you want to let people know ahead of time when your broadcast is going out, and you want to build anticipation, and you want to build referrals. Because if people watch one broadcast on Facebook Live that you've done, they're likely to tell their friends, particularly their Facebook friends, about it, and then you can build your following exponentially, because they will tune in and watch and tell their friends and so on. And of course, another reason to broadcast often is that old saying, out of sight, out of mind. People may tune in once out of curiosity just to see who you are and what you're talking about, and perhaps they may have got an email from you in the past, or they may have bought one of your products, that sort of thing, so they might tune in once just to make sure that you are really a real person and see what you look like and hear what you sound like and that sort of thing. But they'll soon forget about you if you don't keep giving them a reason to come back. So you do need to make sure that you broadcast regularly and that you vary the topics that you broadcast on. And when you give them a regular date for their diary and your videos are entertaining and informative, they'll come back time and time again. And of course, Facebook Live is so new. It's launched at the beginning of 2016, so you're practically guaranteed an audience. And of course, it's unlikely that many marketers in your niche are using it yet. So this gives you an edge, because you're going to be the go-to guy or go-to girl in your niche that people tune into on Facebook Live. And this gives you the opportunity to get out in front and to stay there. Everybody else is going to be playing catch up. So in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the types of videos that work well on Facebook Live. And probably the most successful type of video on Facebook Live are how-tos. Now, when you're demonstrating how to do something live in real time, it can be really powerful, because lots of people are cynical when it comes to watching how-to videos on sites like YouTube or how-to programs on TV. They know that lots of editing and manipulation goes on behind the scenes, and so what you see is not always what you're going to get. There's a very popular program on UK television at the moment where they fix up old cars, and you can just tell that there's a whole lot of stuff that they're not showing you. The car always starts first time every time when they fixed it up, and you think to yourself, especially if you've had any experience of doing anything with cars, you know that things never actually work that smoothly, that they probably had to have umpteen different takes and lots of tweaking about to try and get that car to start up after they've installed the new engine. But of course, when you see it on the program, the guy puts the key in the ignition, turns the key, boom, away it goes. And you can get a bit cynical, so no, it probably really didn't happen exactly like that. But the thing is, when it's live, they see it being done in real time, and they'll be able to see how easy it really is, or how difficult it really is. You're not pulling any punches when it comes to showing things on Facebook Live. You see exactly what's going on. Now, of course, you'll want to practice a lot beforehand so that everything runs smoothly and you don't end up looking stupid if the engine really doesn't start. But because it's live, because people can actually see it being done in real time, it'll give people a lot more confidence in the thing that you're demonstrating, the how-to, because people will see that it is possible to do it. Another type of video that does very well on live streaming on Facebook Live is what's known as the Ask Me Anything video. And this is actually probably the simplest type of video to do, because all you've got to do is sit there and answer questions that your viewers submit to you via the app, and you simply answer them live on air. And this does several things. First of all, it can boost your credibility, and it can show that you really do know what you're talking about, because people can send you a question. You can say, here we have a question from such and such. He or she wants to know this, that, and the other. And then you can explain, and it really does show you as an expert. But of course, you want to make sure that you've boned up on the subject ahead of time, that you can anticipate a bit the sort of questions that people are going to ask you, so that you can answer the questions off the cuff and sound really knowledgeable. Another type of video that does well are countdowns. Now, you can build a buzz around your product launch by counting down how many days or hours there are until your product goes live, and you can reveal a different interesting fact every time. And this can be questions that people have submitted about it. You can perhaps build curiosity, show a little bit about your product, perhaps read a bit from your ebook if you're publishing an ebook. Just a little snippet every time, just to give people a little bit of information every time that they go and broadcast, or that you go and broadcast. And you can also reveal that your product is live via a Facebook live stream, and perhaps give viewers a discount coupon or a code at the launch that will ensure that the word spreads and that you get more viewers at future launches. And then there are interviews. And again, get people to submit questions via the app and get your guest to answer them live on air. And if you've ever watched chat shows on TV, you'll know that having a different guest to be interviewed every time keeps people coming back, because it keeps the content fresh, it keeps it different, it gives people a reason to keep coming back to watch. And of course, this is also a subtle way to do direct selling, as your guest can plug his or her product and people can purchase it via your affiliate link. So there aren't very many ways to do direct selling on Facebook Live at the moment, but this is certainly one way that you can do it. And then there are debates and discussions. You can get lots of different people together. You can start to have a debate, and viewers can submit questions via the app and can contribute to the debate just as if they were there, really. So again, that's a very powerful way. It's a very powerful way of getting your message across, and it's something that people tune in and want to see. And these types of videos are actually quite popular. Then there are talks, people talking over lunch, over breakfast, while they're on the commute. If you're stuck on a train and it's the third time this week that the train's been late, well, you could shout out to your followers on Facebook and say, look, here, I'm stuck on the 8:15 again, and when are they going to do something about this? Commuters like a good old moan occasionally. And you can share your views with the world on any topic. And, some people find the minutiae of other people's lives fascinating. And quite frankly, there's so little on Facebook Live right now that you're practically guaranteed an audience. And then there are Let's Plays for games. And in these sort of videos, you can reveal tactics for playing certain video games. You can show people how to get to the next level. You can share tactics. You can get feedback from other gamers. And you could perhaps have a gaming circle where each participant live streams from their perspective on a certain date and time so that you can really interact with each other as well as with anyone who happens to be watching. And these sorts of videos are always popular. And then there are workouts. And if you're in the fitness niche, then this can really be a boon because you're showing people exactly how it's done. And this can really boost your credibility because people can see that you really do know what you're talking about. And it's like having a personal trainer come into people's homes. And of course, as you're doing the workouts, you can get feedback from viewers, you can get questions that you can answer in real time. So as I said, it does really build and boost your credibility. And of course, you can use it as a teaser for your next fitness video. You can say, I don't have time to demonstrate these other moves, but in my next video, blah, 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 blah. So you can see you can actually use that for sales purposes as well. And cooking and recipes are always popular. You can actually show someone in real time how to cook a particular dish. You can show them how the ingredients go together. There's no editing, so they'll know that the procedure that you're following is the exact procedure that they need to follow in order to get the same results. And there's a whole bunch of other ones that you can have as well. You can do things like product reviews. They're always very popular because you can actually demonstrate live on air how a particular product works. Then things like life hacks, tutorials, behind the scenes are very popular, especially in the business niche. You can see people at work. If you run a store, for example, or a shop, you can have that and people can see exactly what's going on at the time. A day in the life, you can broadcast at different times throughout the day and tell people what you're doing. And quite frankly, just about any subject you can think of is likely to be popular on Facebook Live because it's so new. So although we've covered quite a few in this video, your idea. In this video, I'm going to talk you through how you can go about organizing a livenar. Now, a livenar is like a webinar, but it's held over Facebook Live. Now, the first thing to do is to decide on your topic. And the best way to do that is to simply ask your followers what they want to learn about. And you can do that ahead of time by emailing your list. You can post something on Facebook and get people to respond. You could perhaps mention it in a previous live stream that you're going to be doing a livenar and what would you like to know about, and people can submit comments and you can come up with some ideas that way. But one thing that you should do is you want to keep the topic niche. You want to keep it nice and narrow because you don't want to bore your audience. You don't want to drone on for too long. You can talk for up to 90 minutes, but quite frankly, I think you're going to start losing people's attention way before then. So you want to keep the topic niche. And of course, bear in mind that if people have lots of different things that they want to learn about, if your followers have lots of different things they want to learn about, you can do a separate livenar on each one of those, and that gives people a reason to come back and keep following you and keep listening to your live streams or watching your live streams. You also need to pick a time and date that's convenient for your audience. Now, bear in mind this is going to be going out live and your audience is going to be in different time zones. Now, of course, if you're aiming this at people who are all in one country, then that is probably easier than aiming it at a global audience. So, for example, if you're in the continental US, you've only got 4 time zones to worry about. If you're in the UK, you've only got 1 time zone to worry about. So that sort of thing. Whereas if you're going for a global audience, then you've got 24 different time zones to worry about. So you do need to make sure that you are going out at a time that your audience can tune in and watch. And you want to do your homework. You want to research your topic thoroughly. You want to find out all that there is to know about it, because after all, when you're doing a live webinar, you're the expert. If you're doing a live webinar with another person, then you'll have to be in the same place at the same time. It's not like if you're doing a webinar where you can be in separate places and you can talk to each other via the internet, because if you're doing a live webinar, it's going to have to be filmed on your smartphone. So you're going to have to be physically in the same place at the same time. So you can go to them, they can come to you, or you can meet them somewhere and do your live webinar at a place that's convenient for both of you. Whatever you decide to do, you want to hold your live webinar somewhere quiet with a good Wi-Fi or 4G signal. So you want to check out the venue ahead of time. If it's not going to be in your home or your office, you want to make sure that if you're going to meet someone somewhere else, or you're going to go to their office or their home, that there is a good Wi-Fi signal. And you want to make sure that the set looks tidy and that the lighting is done properly. Because bear in mind that people are going to be looking at the set the whole time that you're on camera. So you want to make sure that there's nothing out of place, because you don't want anything to distract from you or your guest and the message that you're putting across. And the same goes for the lighting, because if it looks amateurish, then that's going to put people off. You want to have the same sort of lighting that people will get if they see you on TV or if they go to the movies. And ideally, what you want to aim for is what's known as Rembrandt lighting. And this is the sort of lighting techniques that Rembrandt used in his pictures. And you can see from his self-portrait here that the way that he's painted it is that the light is stronger on one side of his face than on the other. And that's the sort of technique that you want to reproduce in your videos. And something else you want to do is have an agenda to work through. And this will ensure that you move smoothly through the presentation and you don't miss anything out. So you could have note cards or cue cards, or just simply a piece of paper with the schedule written through it, the agenda, so that you know that you're going to be covering this topic first, and then that topic, and then the other topic, and that sort of thing. And of course, you want to rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. You want to make sure that your delivery is perfect. You don't want to be hesitating. You don't want a lot of ums and ahs and that sort of thing, because it just sounds very unprofessional. So you want to make sure that you at least sound like you know what you're talking about, and you look like you know what you're talking about. Because if you're nervous, if you don't really come across as being confident, then that is going to spoil your presentation. So you want to practice your delivery in the mirror until you're confident about giving a polished performance. So go somewhere private and practice just talking to yourself in the mirror. It feels a bit strange when you first do it, but that is the best way to find out exactly how you're going to come across. Or, of course, if you have a video camera, you can video yourself talking to camera and play it back and watch it. But do bear in mind, though, that this is going to be going out live, so any mistakes are not going to be able to be edited out, unlike on video. And then you want to get the word out about your live webinar. And there are lots of different ways that you can do that. On Facebook, of course, you can let your Facebook friends and your followers know that you're going to be holding this live webinar. And you can use other social media as well. Twitter is a good way because you can simply send out a short message to your Twitter followers. And also LinkedIn, if you're aiming at a business niche. Lots of people who have a presence on LinkedIn also have a presence on Facebook for their business. So you can work the two together and get the word out that way. Of course, your mailing list is probably the best way to get the word out. Everyone who's subscribed to your newsletter, everyone who's bought a product from you, you want to let them know about your live webinar. And also your blog subscribers. Anyone who's subscribing to your blog, you can put a post in your blog to tell people that you're going to be holding this live webinar and when, and give them instructions as to how they can sign up and how they can watch it. You also want to remind people in the days and hours running up to your live webinar that it's going to go ahead, and give them the date and the time. And again, because Facebook Live is so new and lots of people won't have heard about it, you'll have to remind people how they can tune in and watch it. Something else as well as you want to have is a Q&A as part of your live webinar. You can get people to submit questions to you via the app, and you can answer them in real time. And it's a good idea to mention them by name. Here we've got a question from Fred, or here we've got a question from Jane, and answer them in real time and quote them. And that can really tie you and the audience together, and people really do like that. Something else that you can do finally is you can record your live webinar, and you can post the video on your Facebook timeline, and you can also post it on YouTube and other video sharing sites. But if you do that, you want to be sure to edit something out, and you want to make sure that people know it's been edited out, because this will give them an incentive to tune in and watch your next live webinar live. So you don't give them everything when they tune in and watch your video off of a site like YouTube. So that will encourage people to actually tune in and follow you on Facebook and watch your next live webinar. So there you go. You could very well be one of the first people in. There are lots of ways that you can integrate Facebook Live with other social media, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. I suppose the easiest social media to integrate Facebook Live with is Facebook itself. And Facebook give you some pretty comprehensive instructions on the site as to how you go about doing it. Now, Facebook have some instructions on their help center that show you how you can share live videos. And as they say here, this feature isn't available to everyone right now. And they say that to start a live broadcast, what you have to do is log into the Facebook iOS app or Facebook Android app, tap the little icon at the top that looks like a pencil in a square at the top of the timeline, newsfeed or page. Then you tap the other icon that looks like a little man with a halo, and then you can write an optional description for your broadcast. And then you can tap Go Live to begin your broadcast. When you want to end your broadcast, tap Finish. And your broadcast can be no longer than 90 minutes. And when you end your broadcast, it'll stay on your timeline or page like any other video. And it does say that you can block viewers during a live broadcast by tapping on the profile picture next to a customer's comment and then tapping block. And then you can also unblock someone that you've previously blocked. You can also on the Help Center, they have instructions as to how you can share a live video in an event or group. And again, it says to share a live video, go to that event or group from the Facebook iOS or Android app, tap the box that says write something, tap the icon that looks like the little man with a halo, write a brief description, tap Go Live to start the 3-second countdown to broadcast, and then to stop broadcasting, tap Finish at the bottom of the screen. Now, these are the instructions that they have at present. but things change quite rapidly on the internet, and this is a brand new app and it is still evolving. So, what I recommend is that you go to the Facebook Help Center and do a search where it says, how can we help you? For things like, how do I share a live video in an event or group? Or how do I share a live video on Facebook? Just to make sure that these instructions are current, because, as I say, they can change from time to time. Now, a note of caution here. There are some restrictions on integrating Facebook Live and your Facebook page. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about them here because things are changing so quickly that by the time you come to see this video, they may have been taken off. Plus, of course, some restrictions vary from country to country. So you do need to play it by ear, really, when it comes to integrating Facebook and Facebook Live and just see what's available in your country. And also take a look on the Facebook website for their notifications about some of the restrictions to Facebook Live, because it is so new and it is being rolled out. Another way that you can get the word out about your Facebook Live broadcast is to use Twitter. And you can tweet about forthcoming Facebook Live broadcasts. And this is a way to get the word out about your live broadcasts and about your saved videos. Although do bear in mind that Twitter does own Periscope, so you don't really want to do this too often in case they sort of, rather take umbrage about it and shut your account down. So do be careful when trying to promote Facebook Live via Twitter. But every once in a while, I don't think it could really hurt. And then there's YouTube, and you really can do a great partnership between your Facebook Live broadcast and YouTube. What you can do is save it to your camera roll when you're recording your video, and you can edit the video to make it more polished and more professional. Then you upload it to YouTube and your followers will be notified. And what you can do is include a link to your Facebook page in the description. And then people will know where you are. They'll know that you are on Facebook Live, and they can be notified when your next live broadcast goes out. So you can work the two together very, very easily. And of course, probably the best way to integrate Facebook Live with other media is with your own blog or your own website. So you can give details of your next or previous live broadcasts. You can link to saved videos that are part of your Facebook timeline. And you can embed videos that you've saved to YouTube, and people can go and watch them, and then they'll know, like I was just saying, what your Facebook Live link is, and they'll know how to sign up and watch your next videos live. So you can use your YouTube videos as a trailer to get people to watch your next Facebook Live sessions. So there you go, just some ways that you can integrate Facebook